Today's learning target is I can read and write integers and find the absolute value of a number. An integer is any number in a set. So all of these numbers here that you're seeing, these are all called integers. So it's another name for number. A positive integer is any number or any integer that is greater than 0. So 1, 2, 3. These dots here, here and here, those just tell us that these numbers go on forever in both directions. A negative number, like you see here, are numbers that are less than 0. So these integers that are less than 0. So a time when you might see negative integers like these would be in temperature. So in Minnesota in January, it might be 3 below 0. So it's colder than 0. It's actually less than 0. Today you'll be asked to graph a set of integers. So you can see here we have 3 integers. We have 4, we have -6, and we have 0. So to graph a set of integers, we're just going to place a dot on a number line where they belong. So 0 is neither positive nor negative, so we find 0 on our number line, and we just place a dot right there. With 4, the integer 4 here, 4 is going to be 4 greater than 0, so we just find that. Greater than is going to be to this side, and 4, we would put our dot right there. And then -6, we know that's 6 less than 0, so here's 0. That means I'm going to come to this side of to the left side on the number line, and I'm going to place a dot right there at the -6. For this lesson, we are going to need to know the meaning of the word absolute value. And what absolute value is essentially how many units away from 0 that a number is, or that an integer is. So you can see the example here, and these up and down lines here mean absolute value. And so this is asking this is actually saying the absolute value of -5 is 5. And to figure that out, what we do is we start at -5 on the number line, and we see how many units away it is from 0. So we'd look and we'd see 1 unit, 2, 3, 4, 5 units away from 0. So the absolute value of -5, is 5. So I can see here on the same number line, here it shows this is the absolute value of 5, it says is also 5. And to figure that out, we just see how many units from 5 is it to 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if we were to look at a different number, let's say we wanted to find the absolute value of -3. So I'd start at -3, and I would count from -3 until I got to 0. And I'd see from this number line it's 1, 2, 3 numbers away from 0. So that would mean the absolute value of -3 is 3. I could do the same thing with 4. And the absolute value of 4, I'd start here at the 4, and I'd say it's 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers away from 0. So the absolute value of 4 is 4. So when I look at evaluating each of these expressions, remember evaluate means to solve. So here in this first problem here, I see I'm looking for the absolute value of -4. So I think to myself, all right, -4, I know that is 4 numbers away from 0. So the absolute value of -4 would be 4. So when I look at this next problem here, the absolute value of -5 minus the absolute value of 2. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, I know the absolute value of -5 is 5. And I know the absolute value of 2 is 2. So I'm taking 5 minus 2, which when I solve that or evaluate that, the answer is going to be 3. In this next example here, I have 2 plus the absolute value of -3. So again, I want to find the absolute value first. So I'm looking at this and I'm saying the absolute value of -3, how far away from 0 is negative 3, and I know it's 3 units, or 3 numbers, and I'm going to add 2 to that, so that is going to equal 5. And on this last example here, I see the absolute value of negative 6 is 6. I know it's 6 units away from 0. I'm going to take away 5 from that 6, and I'm going to get 1.